Hello and welcome to another video. This is Voice Retro 81 and this is a video response to, I believe Gull has done this, but also let me just check. I think definitely Retro Import Games did it, and bear with me. Aha! And TheHobbyLodge did it. Nothing but the best production value here. So this is my 5 most played games, and obviously figuring that out when you've been into games as long as I have, which is horrifyingly about 36 years, that can be a bit complicated, but at the same time it kind of wasn't. But what I've done is I picked a game for each of my 5 favourite systems, and I kept myself to stuff that I've still got in my collection. So without further ado, we shall start with item number 1, Batman Returns on the Sega Master System. Now this wasn't actually on my Sega Master System top 10 back in the day. That's because this takes some getting used to how to play it, and if you don't play it for a while, you get you lose your way with the swinging controls, which are vital to getting anywhere in this game. So as a result, if I don't play it for a while, which at the time I did those top 10s, I hadn't been playing this, you forget how to play it and it drives you absolutely mad because you keep falling in fires and such like. But this, I would say, is probably, no, never mind, probably it is my favourite Batman game before the Arkham series started, and this is so much better than the Mega Drive version. The Mega Drive version's alright, but it's a completely different game. This is much more of a kind of straightforward and fun platformer. It controls much better, etc. And yeah, always coming back to this one. So that's number 5, roughly. They're not in any particular order. Batman Returns, Sega Master System. Coming up next, we have, for the PlayStation 2, Midway's Gauntlet Dark Legacy. Always been a fan of the Gauntlet series. I think I've talked about that a few times on the channel. Obviously, recently during the Halloween videos, I put up the PC version of Halloween of Gauntlet, the Slayer edition. A bit of gameplay on that. This is my favourite Gauntlet, hands down. I maxed out the Valkyrie, and now I'm maxing out the Elf Ranger Rogue Sniper type character at the moment. Play this to death. Must be my most played PlayStation 2 title. I wouldn't say it's necessarily my favourite PlayStation 2 title, but it'd be definitely in my top 10. And yeah, I play the heck out of it. So Gauntlet Dark Legacy, great one to pick up if you don't have it. Number 3, not going to surprise anybody here, it is Ridge Racer Type 4. I have banged on about Ridge Racer Type 4 like it's going out of style, which by this point it probably is. This is a nigh on perfect racing game to me, and I've played through it so many times I can't remember. And I remember when it came out, there was this debate going around our college about whether Ridge Racer Type 4 was better than Gran Turismo, and I like both. But I think it's telling that I still own Ridge Racer Type 4, and I don't have either of the Gran Turismos at the moment. I don't even have any of the ones on the future PlayStations. So, yeah. Ridge Racer Type 4 was always the go-to racing game for me. There were a lot of other go-to racing games like Wipeout 2097, Sega Rally on the Sega Saturn, Manx TT on the Sega Saturn. Also the earlier Ridge Racers as well, but this comes up top trumps for me and is still my favourite racing game, and I still think it's probably the best racing game that's come out. And I know that's controversial, but it's my video. Don't care. 4th, Bloodborne. In this case, the Game of the Year edition with the Old Hunters DLC. This is a great game whether you've got the Older Hunters DLC or not. I think this is far better than Dark Souls. I do like Dark Souls. I really enjoy Dark Souls, and I've got Dark Souls Dark Souls is staring at me, going like, "Why you not pick me?" Like 2 seconds from me. It's literally like I can go down here and pick up Dark Souls. But Bloodborne, beaten it 3 times all the way through. Haven't done. I don't quite get on with the Chalice dungeons, which is my only real niggle with Bloodborne, and I think that's just something that I think you need a lot more time than I have day to day to work through those, and I don't. So it's just a bit of a slog, and it's kind of making an already hard game quite even harder for the sake of achievements and such which I'm not necessarily down on. God, my bald head is shining off all over here. So yeah, I love Bloodborne to bits. Probably put 150 hours or such into it. It's probably the RPG I've played the most. And definitely the best of the Souls-likes, the Soulsborne games in my opinion. I'm probably slightly biased because I like gothic horror and whatnot, so that's something to take into mind if you're looking for whether you should get Bloodborne or Dark Souls. Dark Souls is more of a straight fantasy thing, but they've all got horror, survival-y aspects to them anyway. But Bloodborne is Dark Souls on some Tim Burton style crack, and I love it to bits. And finally, another game that's going to shock absolutely nobody who's been watching the channel. It is Ghouls and Ghosts for the Sega Mega Drive. This is my go-to Sega Mega Drive game. Chomping at its heels is Super Smash TV, but Ghouls and Ghosts has been my favourite game since I was a child, pretty much. And I've got this on the Master System as well, but the Master System version is simultaneously less brutal, but kind of harder. It doesn't have the same maps as this or any of the other ports. It's got different maps and such and I have to confess that I've never actually got off the second stage of the Master System version, because the bit where you're going across the tiny little walkways that can drop you down into the Scorpion pits, the map of that is completely different. And I've only had the Sega Master System version I think about 3 years, where I've had Ghouls and Ghosts in one form or another since it came out on the Commodore 64. And I would have put some Commodore 64 games in this, but I don't have my Commodore 64 with me. So, the only Commodore 64 games I have with me are actually on the shelf roughly behind me, which you can't see right now. But, and they're not, those are just the ones that I happen to have with me, rather than being necessarily my favourites, because as I don't have the system with me at the moment, I can't play anything. So they're just ones that happen to have in situ that I've got on display. So I've got Salamander, Dragon Ninja, and Silkworm on my shelf behind me. But yeah, I don't have Ghouls and Ghosts with me. I also actually have Turrican sitting around there somewhere as well, which is also a great game. So I guess I'll go into honourable mentions on that front. If I was going to do some pick a C64 game, and given that I've picked Ghouls and Ghosts on the Mega Drive already, it would probably have to be either Murray Mouse Super Cop or Myth, and possibly Ninja Warriors. I mean, I actually played Ninja Warriors so much as a child that I don't have a working copy of Ninja Warriors anymore, because my copy of Ninja Warriors, the tape snapped because I loaded it so often. So probably Ninja Warriors on that. Anyhow, this has been my top 5 most played games. If you would like to video respond, do feel free. I'm not going to tag anybody. I think Gull's already done it, and he's the main guy who does all the retro type stuff, who's regularly on the channel with me. So take care of yourselves. Thank you very much for listening as always, and peace out.